Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ROW.
Oh
this
my
is
God.
this is Raised on Wrestling, and I interview fans and wrestlers and all that good stuff. You were on for like 30 seconds before I had to jump in, and so awesome, good stuff, Adam. So what's new? How are you raised on wrestling?
I grew up on you know what? I started at the exact right time. So I was born in 1975. So right around when I was 10 was WrestleMania 1. So I started watching probably 84, which is when, the man came around, Hulk Hogan beat the Iron Sheik in 1984 January. And that's when the roof blew off of wrestling. MTV, Rock and Wrestling Connection, Piper Hogan, Cyndi Lauper, Lou Albano. So it was prime time, man. And, it's definitely not the same, but I'm sure we'll get into that. But, that 80s era, man, unbelievable. Because you knew, but you still kind of believed back then.
Absolutely. I still remember Lou Albano was in Cyndi Lauper's music video.
Oh yeah, man. The Goonies one. Well, he was in. I think he was in Girls Just Want to Have Fun, and then that the one from the Goonies, which wasn't as popular of a song, but she had everybody in that one.
I'll definitely have to check that out because I love the Goonies, so that was a really good
Yeah,
movie.
I'll shoot that over to you. I think it was called Good Enough, and it was Sheik, Volkov, Piper was in it. There was a whole bunch of them in that one.
Indeed, I loved the Sheik, like either the original Sheik or the Iron Sheik,
Mm-hmm.
all that good stuff. Like the Sheik's Twitter is one of my favorites to follow because he's just
Oh,
I love,
he's out of his damn mind.
yeah,
Hey, you know what? God bless. He's still alive.
indeed, most definitely. And I love his documentary is free to watch on YouTube too, so that's good,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
most definitely. And so Um, let's see here, and so you grew up in watching like the 80s, and that's where I grew up in like I was born in '82, and so
Okay.
I caught like most of like the Legion of Doom and like Ultimate Warrior and
Yeah.
Coco Beware and stuff.
Yeah. The Legion of Doom, when they were awesome, was before they got to WWF. Was originally growing up the AWA, the American Wrestling Association, and that used to be on ESPN, and they were incredible. And actually, you had Scott Hall there. You had Mr. Perfect before he was Mr. Perfect. You had the Rockers when they were the Midnight Rockers, and that was just, oh man, it was. I miss those days, way back. And I'm an old man, so I'm like, oh, back in my day. But they still kept what's known as kayfabe back then, and they tried to make you think it was real, you know, and that's all gone now. Now they have documentaries where you know they're telling you, it's a little too much peek behind the curtain, you know, and you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, my friend.
Indeed.
You know,
Yep.
um, that's back when I started watching. It was before pay-per-views too, and then they started pay-per-views, and then they had one, like the big four, right? The WrestleMania, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, and SummerSlam. And now there's what, one a month. Doesn't feel special anymore. I used to have to beg my dad to get a pay-per-view. Now it's constant. And all right, but it used to feel like a holiday, and now it's just every couple of weeks there's a new pay-per-view.
Indeed, unless you're watching AEW, and that's like once every quarter, or they throw
Yeah,
in some special pay-per-views, and so
I do like that they're doing that. I definitely like uh, that they're doing that. I feel like they're lacking on storytelling though. Like I don't feel invested in any of their stories.
mm,
Like so you watch it, right?
yep. I watch pretty much everything on YouTube because like the 3 hour shows and the 2 hour shows are just too much for me, and I it just happens every
Exactly.
time we just
Well, I mean, and that's the problem, right? Because 3 hours of anything, if you go to a concert of your favorite band, like my favorite band is Pearl Jam, right? And I love Pearl Jam, Metallica, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, bands like that. I'm a '90s guy, pretty much. 3 hours, even with your favorite band, by 2.5 hours, you're like, all right, let's wrap it up, fellas. You know what I mean?
yep.
So a wrestling show every week for 3 hours is how do I say this? Too fucking long. It is. It's just too much, man. Do you remember the old NWA?
um, I watched like the Power, which is like the most recent one, but I don't
Okay,
watch
so
the end of the old NWA. I didn't watch.
so I'm talking like it's a little you were like three, but like I guess the mid '80s was their prime. So the Four Horsemen, right?
Okay.
You know of them.
Yep, Ric Flair, on Anderson, and all
Tully
that.
Blanchard, and then a rotating guy. The
Yep,
the the, the most well known is Barry Windham.
yep.
Um, so they used to have a show on TBS, and it was 90 minutes. And Jim Ross says it all the time. 90 minutes is the sweet spot. An hour is a little too short. 2 hours is a little too long. 90 minutes makes you want to come back. And they had a classic thing where they'd have the main event, and the main event wasn't over yet. And Jim Ross, classic, was like, or Schiavone before Tony Schiavone before Jim Ross. They're like, folks, we're out of time. What's going to happen? We'll see you next week. And everybody would get pissed off, but it would make you watch next week. Who won? Who won? Do we have a new champ? Who won? It
Yep, I
was
remember.
brilliant. Now 3 hours, man, it's too much. It is. It's too much for anything. It's too much for your favorite thing. 3 hours.
Indeed, for sure. And Pearl Jam. I got to see them in Jacksonville, and they did 3 hours.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
No.
Hey, listen, I'm going up to New York to see them. It's gonna be my first time back since I moved down here. And they're playing New York City on 9/11,
Oh wow.
which is pretty nuts. But I have the tickets from pre-COVID, and they got canceled. So I got the tickets already, and it's a good reason to move back. Or not move back. I'm not moving back. I'm not moving back. To head back though. So that'll be fun.
Indeed, most definitely. Yeah, they didn't have like a direct supporter or an opening act. They just played 3 hours, and they played pretty much their entire like discography. I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
I was a concert journalist, and I would get in like put in my press credential request, and I got accepted, and
Oh, nice.
I bought a Pearl Jam shirt, got into the photo pit. Eddie Vedder looked down at me, and he gave me a big old smile because I was the only
You
one.
have to share some of those pictures with me, my friend.
Oh, I can send you the article too. So it's pretty
Oh,
neat.
nice.
I saw
Awesome.
up close with him. Yep, but those were some good times.
We're
I don't come.
sponsored by Diet Mountain Dew today.
I wish we were. Oh man, but I don't drink soda. But it was just I usually make my own sodas at the bar. I make club soda and cranberry juice, and I'm
There you
set.
go.
Yep.
You know what? It's what I have in the apartment, and I didn't go out and get coffee, so it'll do. It'll do, my friend. I got to
Yes,
move furniture.
for sure. Get um get some pro wrestlers to help you out moving those furnitures,
There
old
you
man.
go. There you go. Well,
Awesome.
do you know you know the Dudleys, right? You're familiar with the Dudley boys? So I used to work for a screen printer, and we did all the ECW shirts back
Oh
in the
wow.
day. And guys like Taz and Tommy Dreamer and Bubba used to call up the shop, and Taz was always in character. Oh, I don't like that. And always in character. But the cool thing was when the Dudleys went to WWE, I think it was still F at the time. So they showed up wearing the shirts that I made. And I remember going to my dad being like, "You have to see this. Those guys are wearing my shirts." And I had, an extra shirt, at the house. And he's like, "Oh my God, really?" And that, shortly thereafter, they got new WWE garb. But when they showed up, I made that shirt. We printed those shirts like 4 hours before. It was pretty wild.
Indeed, that's pretty neat, and that's what brought us together. Is when I posted that ECW post, and then
Oh, right.
did the comments thing, and yeah, it was I wish I got to meet Taz, but it was just only those guys that showed up and signed my sign and stuff, and but now Taz is on AEW as a commentator and
Yeah,
part of
you see
Team
his
Taz.
son?
Yeah, Hook, he's pretty good.
Hook's a stud. Hook's a stud. Young kid. I like what they're pushing them to the moon. So I if they keep that up, give him a couple of years, and he'll be main event top guy. You know
Indeed, and his storyline with Danhausen's pretty good too. So hopefully
that guy
they'll.
is. You must love him.
Yeah, he's great. He's
You
hilarious.
love Danhausen, right?
Yeah,
He's right up your alley, man. I like him a lot. I like him a lot. He's fascinating to me, and I've read up on him, and yeah, he's a character for sure, man.
indeed. He
Did
was
you
Oh, go ahead.
did you see the other night Jeff Hardy and
Darby
who's the,
Allen.
yeah, did you see that?
Yeah, it was nuts.
How did he not break his fucking back?
I have no idea, but they went through like those chairs, and
Dude, he
then
landed like spine first on several chairs.
yep,
It's
and,
insane.
and that steel steps, and I'm like, this is just they need to
Yeah.
take it easy.
Like
Like,
I worried about him. I don't know him, but I worried about him.
indeed, the things that they go through for the fans, I guess, and
Yeah, but if you watch, do you watch Busted Open or listen to Busted Open on Sirius XM?
I catch the videos and stuff with Bubba, but
Yeah.
mhm,
So Bubba's a big proponent, and he's right. If like we have been watching for a long time, work smarter, not harder.
mhm.
Like as they get older, like look at Stone Cold, right? Probably, arguably the biggest, best wrestler of all time, right? You got him, you got Hogan, you got The Rock, and I guess you could throw Cena in there, right? None of those guys do a lot of moves.
No,
Stone Cold, what do you do? The Lou Thez press, kick, stomp, stunner. you know, like
and the
all
mud
the
hole in the corner too, stopping mud holes in people.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you could take any one of those guys I named and count all their moves on one hand. And a lot of the younger guys these days, again, back in my day, but seriously, all the huge guys who transcend, who your mother and your grandmother heard of, right? You don't have to be a fan to know. Have a handful of moves, but it's how you present them, and it's the charisma, right? what I noticed a lot is in the field that we're in of stand up, a lot of wrestling fans. Have you
Yeah,
noticed that? Ton of wrestling fans, and it didn't take me long to figure out. But at first, I was like, "Wow, this is interesting." But then you realize, Jericho, Roddy Piper, The Rock, Stone Cold. All the guys are great on the microphone,
yeah.
right? And we fell in love with that, and we knew we weren't getting in the ring. So give me a damn mic, right?
And
Because on stage, that's what we're doing. We're cutting promos. We're just trying to be funny while doing it, right?
yep. And who do you compare yourself to when it comes to like, say, like your alter ego would be this wrestler if you were,
Oh my
if
God,
you were as a stand-up
that
comic?
that's a setup question. um, I don't know, man. Um, I'm a big Piper guy though, from back in the '80s, the Piper's Pits. I don't think I'm anywhere near him, but I guess I would have to say that I was influenced by him, be it a comic or just a person in general, you know, that's part of my sense of humor because I grew up, I was 10 years old when I found him, you know, so, and that pretty much ran through the early 90s, you know. Um, yeah, there's definitely some Roddy Piper running through my veins for sure. Um, Trying to think who else. I mean, there's others that I admire, but yeah, old school Roddy Piper for sure. What
Indeed.
about you?
Easily, hands down, is CM Punk.
Okay,
Yep.
I
And
could see that.
the reason being is because I'm straight edge like him, and like when I go on stage, I drop these like pipe bombs, whether I'm bombing or not. Like, well, I love like shocking people on stage,
Yeah,
and like not people are not expecting me. I'm like cool, calm, and collected like him, and then they just don't expect the things that come out of my mouth, like especially in Daytona. But when they do expect it, they just uh like my buddies go, what I love is like they ignore you in the beginning, and then you get into the down and dirty and gritty stuff, and then they turn their heads around and they're like, "What the heck is going on here?" And then they just rise, they just like. And I got their attention. It happened at Lake Mary's Grub and Pub or Pub and Grill or
oh
uh,
yeah, that's around the corner from me.
oh yeah, that happened
Yeah,
there and a bunch of other places. It's great.
next time you're over there, you definitely let me know. I'll definitely head down.
Oh, for sure. I think they're
I
gonna
I,
turn that. They're gonna turn that
I,
into a weekly open mic. I think.
I went to that once, the first time they had it, and by the time I showed up, there were like 30 people on the list, and
Yeah, it's
I was
nuts.
like, "Whoa!" But who runs that? Jolly runs that now.
Yep.
Yeah, and I talk to Jolly all the time and about that, and he's yeah, come down, and I just usually have something doing on a Sunday, and my intention is to make it down there, and then one thing leads to another, like moving furniture.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh man, I bet you can't wait for that. So,
The You mentioned Daytona. I just worked the Hilton in Daytona.
ah,
400 people.
goodness gracious, that's a lot of people.
Blew my ever loving mind, man. Like that was really cool. It was intimidating, but definitely the biggest crowd I ever worked in front of. But yeah, I mean, like, how long have you been in it in comedy?
7 years.
7 years.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How about yourself?
I'm just over two.
Oh, nice.
So it's wild, man. Like, I always wanted to do it, and then it was kind of a bucket list, and then I'm like, I really freaking like this,
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're still in the mode of every time I get up there, I can't believe I'm up there.
Oh, it's gone now, but No, like I've never really well, like it's well, I guess kind of like the last time I felt that way was either it was at the Relapse Theater in Atlanta, and
Oh,
it
cool.
yeah, I was in it's closed down now, but like Rory Scovel did a documentary on it, and he shot a special Netflix special there and stuff. But they closed down. But I was on tour for like for some strange reason, like the stars aligned, and I had like 10 dates booked back to back to back to back to back to back, and like, it was like 14 performances total, and it ranged from like open mics to like shows to coffee shops to movie theaters to art galleries, just everything. Some outdoor shows, but that special night they made grilled cheese in the corner, and it was completely packed out. And like my buddy was there for a horror convention because he was in those like horror movies from the '80s and stuff. He was known as Butterball from Hellraiser, the big
Okay.
guy with the glasses, and he was there and for me, and he helped me film my set, and so it was like the best set ever. I think like 200 people were there, but it was
Wow.
like yeah, nobody was sitting on the there was like, no so many like there was the chairs were all gone, and people were sitting on their butts or staying in the back. There was like nowhere else to sit. Like it was just nuts.
Standing room only, man.
Yeah, it was wild, but it
Very
was like the
cool.
best six. Oh, I had 6 minutes and got paid ten
All right.
bucks, but it was good.
Hey, listen, man. At this stage, at this point, at the level we're at, we're not doing it for the money.
No way.
And it's funny. Like I've never done anything else like this where I legit mean I'm not doing it for the money. Like we do it for the absolute love of doing it. You
Yep.
know, and obviously money's nice. If you want to throw me some, some money, I'll take it. But you know, I'm still, and I don't want to lose it. I'm still in the. I love this, and I'm so happy and proud to get on stage and tell people jokes and have them laugh. And it doesn't feel like work, and it's awesome. It really is. And you come up with a new bit, and it's refreshing, and there's nothing like coming up with a new bit and going up there and people love it. You know,
Absolutely.
that's
I
our
love
baby.
it. Really is. I love open mics more than I love shows for some reason. It's just like less stressful, and I can just have more fun and try new things.
Right. I'm trying to get there. Carmen Valone has become a really good friend of mine. And so there's a different mindset down here with open mics compared to New York open mics. Long Island, I can speak of more than the city. And open mics on Long Island was very much like batting practice. And then the shows were the game. And down here, open mics seem to be um, more of game than like they're not viewed as much as all right, I'll go up there, and I still have a very much a mindset with open mics of all right, let me test this out, and like it's very much batting practice. And Carmen tells me all the time, he's like, you got to get out of that, that mindset, that Long Island mindset. So I'm working on that. But, right, just the way my brain is operating is very much, all right, go up, test this out, take a lap around the track, and get ready for the game. And we'll see. It may change, and it's not intentional. It's just the way I came up in comedy, where an open mic is practice, But I do
Indeed.
see it, like you said, you enjoy it more, and there's a lot of comics down here who view that as as the game, So we'll see. Maybe I'll change.
Yeah, like one. one person that's has great mic skills that's from Long Island is MJF, and he's just one of my
Oh my
favorite
God,
heels.
yeah,
Yeah, he's fantastic.
yeah. He's a throwback, man. He's a 1980s. Um, can I say it? He's a 1980s asshole.
Yeah,
He's Roddy Piper, man. You know,
indeed.
did you ever meet him?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Um,
We'll have to talk about that. About I have a great collection of. I'll send you the album of people I've met. You know, I have a cool list. Um, you know, like there's very few that I still want to meet. But apparently, when you meet him, he's in total character too. Like it, you know, I've seen video. Like he's a prick to little kids because he's a bad guy. You know, he's flipping people off and stuff, man. Which is awesome. It's hilarious. You know, like he's I I love when people stay in character, man. You know, like if you're a bad guy, see, this is part of the problem. Um, let's say a guy like Seth Rollins, right, who's a heel, but then you go on, Instagram, and he's lovey-dovey with his wife, and he has, and his baby, and and I'm happy that they're happy, but make me believe, you know, and like I said before, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Like I love the documentaries almost more than the show, than the events, right? Like WWE documentaries, right? Behind the scenes stuff. However, now I know you. Now I like you. Now on the show, I can't hate you.
yeah,
And I want to hate the bad guy. You know? Like besides MJF on either show, right? Because you got AEW, WWE. You know, you got some others, but those are the big ones, right? Who else is a hateable bad guy? The Miz, maybe.
yeah.
But that's really it. You know, you got one in each league. That's it.
Sadly, I mean Roman Reigns still does pretty good, but
Yeah, you kind of love him though.
yep, that's
Yeah,
true.
you're happy that he made it to where he is right now, and he's 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 a bad guy, but you don't hate him.
Indeed.
You're not like I want to see this prick get punched in the face, right?
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
like AEW does better with like doing the heel stuff and the face stuff, and
In a way, Surratt, in a way, but they are also struggling. I can't give them all the credit, because they're struggling making me invest in pretty much anybody.
yep,
You know, like you said, MJF clearly a bad guy. He's an asshole. You hate him. You want to see him get punched in the face. But who else on that show do you really, really love or really, really hate? There's not a lot.
yep. That's not a lot. Yep.
Like what's Jericho? Is he good or bad? Because I'm not sure anymore.
Right. I mean,
When
he.
he was a bad guy, he came out with his song, right? Judas,
Mhm.
and the whole audience is singing his song, which is awesome.
Yep.
However, he's a bad guy,
Yep.
right? So now the bad guy who you're supposed to hate, who you want to get killed, you just sang his theme song. You can't hate that guy anymore,
Nope. Unless
right?
he changes his theme song, which nobody wants. So.
Right,
And
right.
plus, like whenever he's on the mic, he tries so hard to be a bad guy, but it's not. But
But you love him.
yeah, but his face side he's just too comedic now,
Yep.
and he tries to be mean, but it doesn't work. It's kind of like me, It's like I try to be mean, but it just doesn't work. So, but
Yeah.
like,
And then the other concern I have with them, with AEW, is so they went through a run where they brought in a ton of huge names, right? Bringing Daniel Bryan, bringing CM Punk, right? Um, I said a ton. Okay, that's two. But two of the biggest names you could have got, right? What are we really doing with these guys? I guess they're steering Punk now towards the title picture, right? But that better happen quick, man, because he lost a lot of steam,
Yeah.
right? He came in like he came in, you heard Cult of Personality, and you were like, oh my God, Punk's back after what, like 7 years or some shit? And it was the biggest thing in the world. And then they took the foot off the gas a little bit, right? Like, I feel like they should have shot him straight to the moon.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, he does have a match with Adam Page for the title in like 2 weeks at Double or Nothing. So
Yeah, I'll watch that. I'll buck up for that. Yeah.
indeed, that's gonna be a
Um,
good pay per view, and plus the Forbidden Door in Chicago coming up in next month too. And like you said, like you get so excited for these pay per views because they only happen like every 4 months or something.
yeah, the quarterly, which is the way to do it, man. I just want them to I like what they're doing. I want them to keep long prime example, that guy Murder Hawk, what's his name?
Oh
He's with
yeah.
Jake the Snake,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
They bring him in, they put him up with Adam Page. It's like a 1 week program, right? A 1 week feud, maybe two. Let it grow, man. Let me think that what's his name? I feel bad. I can't think of his name. He doesn't care, but the Murder Hawk guy, right?
Oh, Lance Archer.
Lance Archer. That's it. Let me think that guy actually has a chance of beating the champ, and they didn't. They didn't do that. He came in. He's big. He's a badass. This and that. It lasted like a week. Cody Rhodes, right? He had a dog collar match with who do you have that with?
Oh, let's see.
Might be
There
the
was,
same. Might be the same guy.
yeah, I think so.
Was it Archer?
I believe so, but
Okay, so they
uh,
jumped to a dog collar match in like minute. Like there was no build up. There was no reason to be that mad at each other. They had a match and then like next week dog collar match. Like back in the day, it was the only way to settle it, and now they just jump to that stuff. And I think they need to build it, man, build it, slow brew.
indeed. Well, there was like Cody Rhodes versus Brody Lee in the dog collar match, and then there was MGF and CM Punk in a dog collar match too.
Okay, okay, so right there, Sarat.
Uh-huh.
How long has AEW been around? 2 years.
A couple years, yeah,
Too
something
many
like that.
too many dog collar matches in that time.
Yeah,
You shouldn't have four dog collar matches in a year because then it's not special, right?
yep.
So yeah, man, I love old school NWA, old TBS stuff, man. Superstation TBS, because it felt, as cheesy as this may sound, it felt real, and the builds were slow, and I mean, maybe it's just a sign of the times, there's no slow brew. I need like Brock and Roman was what, a year-long feud and a build. No, the payoff at Mania wasn't as good as we wanted, right?
Right.
Like this past Mania,
Yeah, I
it
didn't even
wasn't
bother
great.
ordering it. I just watched the clips.
It wasn't. Well, I mean, I have the NBC Peacock,
Oh,
right? It's $5 a month, so I get all the pay-per-views. Um, but the main that was the main event of the whole WrestleMania. Wasn't great. I was shocked that it wasn't great. Maybe that should have been not a dog collar, but maybe they should have stuck them in the cage or something like that. Because we've seen that match a couple of times. Yeah.
yep.
Um, but the build was great. You know,
Indeed. Yeah, they don't because I think it's like the short attention spans that everybody has. It's just
that's
like
it. This is dating myself, but it's the MTV generation, man, and now it's after that, and it's the social media, like like you just said it, prime example, man. I didn't bother ordering it. I watched the clips. Well, back in the Attitude Era, even that was not an option. You watched the show or you didn't see the show.
yep.
And there's nothing wrong with what you said. It's just a different mindset of I'm paying for this. I'll watch. I'll get the whole 3-4 hour pay-per-view in 30 seconds, and I'm good, right?
Hmm.
And and that's also, I guess, part of the wrestling too. Is the high spots, right? Because they have to keep your attention. Maybe Stone Cold stomping a mud hole in the corner is not going to keep people's. He's kicking the guy. I need somebody to do a 360 double twisty through 4 tables and a handful of chairs. Yeah. So it's. But man, I'll still go back now and watch old '80s stuff and love it, man.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I like during the Attitude Era and like the Monday Night Wars, I would just record them and just keep them as my collection, on
Oh, it's the
on
best.
VHS. And then like when the pay per views would come and I couldn't afford them, didn't want to ask my parents to buy them, I would just like turn it on to like the static screen and just like listen to it. And then my buddies and I would listen to it. And he goes, "Right, tell me what the results were." And like
Dude, that's so cool.
yeah,
What listen to it like like it's the '50s and you're listening to the radio.
yep, pretty much. Cause like
That's awesome, man.
yeah, I
That's so
didn't tell him
great.
like what every move was. I just told him because like we didn't have the internet back then, so like we had to wait till
Yeah,
those wrestling magazines came out at the newsstands, and then
dude.
that's when we found out.
So m- my family used to vacation down here, which is really cool because now I live here, right? So I just performed in Daytona, and I'm a Disney pass holder because I'm still new and I'm a damn tourist, right? And before we would leave for vacation, I would go up to the stationery and and my dad would give me, $4 or $5 so I could buy 3 or 4 wrestling magazines. And we would drive down to Florida. And the best part of my trip was the car ride. And I'd read 3 or 4 wrestling magazines, cover to cover, man. Pro Wrestling Illustrated, yeah. It was amazing. And you believed everything in there. The magazines, kept kayfabe, and there was nothing like. And also that's how you got to know wrestlers too. Like there were guys I never saw on TV who I knew everything about. Abdullah the Butcher, Bruiser Brody. Um, it was a long time before I saw half these guys, but I felt like I knew all about them because I read the wrestling. They had interviews, and as it turns out, they even really interview the guy. They just got permission, and the writer would just write the interview.
Yep,
It's awesome, man. I miss those.
indeed, they were a lot of fun for sure, and definitely helped pass the time. So that was good stuff. And yeah, now they just have like just wrestling news everywhere now, and like now CBS and ESPN is covering it now, and
Yeah, and the big thing too, man, is the magazines and the media, the wrestling media at least, used to help the stories, right? And now it's all about spoiling it for Roman's going to be Brock because Brock's contract doesn't have this many dates, and so he's going to lose, and then stuff like that. Charlotte got her arm broken by Ronda because she wants to go get married and try to get pregnant. Stuff like that, where it used to be part of the story. And I've said it a bunch today. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, man. And it's disappointing. You know, my nephew, right? So I used to take my nephew to all these meet and greets, right? And he got really into it. But then he became one of these millennial fans who would call me and be like, this guy's going to lose because, his sister's dog is sick and whatever the case, right? And I'm a little sad about that, man. Like I want to believe. And, the part of the magic's gone. And I think that's part of, I think Vince struggles with that a lot in WWE, and he's trying really hard to make it 80s and 90s again, but it's very difficult.
Indeed. And like when you mentioned like all their like contract dates and all that stuff and wanting to get married and having kids and stuff, like I don't know like what happened. I was like watching like some news site or something like that, and they go, you know how you can tell who's gonna win the match, and they said, well, what they wrote in the article is like you gotta look at what they're wearing. The person that's wearing the most shiny stuff that has like the most glitter or sequins or gold or silver, whatever that's on their attire, they're gonna win the match.
Really?
Yeah, and
I
I
guess
looked at
not paying attention to that.
Yep, and so every time I look at a person like in a championship match that's very shiny under the lights, they're gonna win. And so that's
Really?
yeah, that's how you can tell.
I'm going to pay attention to that. It's funny you say that is, back in the 90s era and stuff. I remember main events at pay-per-views by what they're wearing. And it wasn't super flashy though, but like Ricky Steamboat beating Ric Flair at Chi-Town Rumble 89, right? I know Steamboat's in green, Flair's in red. I always wondered if they discussed that before they went out, and probably not. But color combos really just caught my eye. I was like, are they? I'm gonna wear the orange, and you wear the yellow, or whatever the case. That's interesting that you said that, though. I'm definitely gonna pay attention to that and see,
Absolutely.
because I
And
mean, look at a guy like Stone Cold who just wore all black, or Hogan who wore red and yellow all the time, and now it's. But back then it was, yeah. Well, now if you notice when they pin somebody, they have to face the hard camera, right?
yep,
Like they'll move around, like they'll have a pin, but if it's not facing the hard camera, they have to swing around. Probably because they get yelled at if they don't. But yeah, that's another aspect though. Like some of the magic is gone.
it's
But people ask me, I'm sure they ask you, you still watch that crap? Listen, man, I watched it for the first 25 years of my life, and now I'm invested. I don't believe like I used to. Now I guess I look at it more from the business aspect of it.
indeed. God, I mean, and that's why I call the show "Raised on Wrestling" because like I was raised, like my parents just threw me in front of the TV since if they were like, they didn't want to watch me, so they knew that wrestling would catch my attention, and like just seeing like the Ultimate Warrior and stuff like that. It's like, and pretty much like Ricky the Dragon Steamboat with the fire, coming out of his mouth and everything. It's like it was better than Saturday morning cartoons sometimes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Steamboat. See, that's funny. So Steamboat won the title from Macho Man at Mania 3, and he was skyrocketing, and he probably would have became world champion. He was that popular. But then he wanted to. They just had a baby. He just had a baby with his wife at the time, and he just won the IC title, and he asked Vince for a break, and Vince was what are you, crazy? You're our biggest guy. And he dropped it on regular Saturday morning TV to the Honky Tonk Man in like such a bullshit way. Like it was a hold on to the ropes, just a wacky, wonky finish. And Honky Tonk became one of the longest reigning champions ever because that's a guy like MJF who was so hateable. Yeah, like nobody was like, I love Honky Tonk Man. You just want to see him get killed. Yeah, but Steamboat was skyrocketing. So then he went to NWA and he beat Flair, and he was the top guy. But then when they brought him back, that's when what you're talking about. They put the gimmick on him with the dragon stuff and the blowing fire. And it was so weird because he was one of the most popular guys ever. And in that era, they had to dress him up with the dragon wing. He had wings and stuff and the blowing fire. And the fire was cool, but the rest of it was just, they made Tito Santana into the Matador. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And prior to that, Tito was just a regular, wrestler. He was a Mexican guy and, just tights, and he was one of the best. But they made him into El Matador. That was the era where everybody had to have this way over the top gimmick.
Indeed. Gosh, it's just like easy to disguise somebody into, like, whenever they have to wear like a luchador mask or something, they could just put that on them and change their whole thing. And
yeah. Well, remember they had the Duke the Dumpster Drosy. Mm-hmm. He was a garbage man. And Kane was Sir Isaac Yankem.
Yep.
He was the evil dentist.
Now it seems like everyone's getting rebranded. Like Austin Theory is just Theory, and like
I hate that.
Yeah.
Now I could see the deal. I'm surprised they even let him start with Austin, just because of Stone Cold, right? And I mean the obvious thing is Vince is like, that's confusing. They're gonna think it. Nobody's that stupid. Nobody thinks that's Stone Cold. But, they could have made him Trevor Theory or something like that, What did you think of The Fiend?
Oh, I miss him. Like, I just followed his entire career, like, as Bray Wyatt and everything like that. And when he was, like, with Brody, or when he was a different name, and, and when he had his own family and everything like that. And now
that whole thing was great. The Wyatt family. It should have been bigger. It should have been bigger. They should, if not world champ, they should have gave him, one of the secondary titles and made those guys tag champs. It was so good. And and then when they gave him the belt as the Fiend, and then Goldberg comes in and beats him in 12 seconds. Oh,
broke my heart. Like, the Fiend was so unstoppable, but
Bully Bubba Ray said, and it's very true, with that character, it was so good. And one of the greatest entrances with that lantern that looked like his face. Oh my God, it was amazing, right? And the music was great. I love that song, right? And then
the lights lighting up the crowd and stuff. That was,
yeah, man. Yeah. The Fireflies, right?
Yeah, the Fireflies. Yeah.
And then here's the problem. This is it. I'm stealing from Bubba here. And then the bell rings, right? The house lights come on, and now it's just a wrestling match. And now it's just a dude in a mask wrestling. And he's not gone. Well, he's gone from wrestling for now, but he's not dead. He's a fantastic wrestler. He's so good, but it's just a dude. Where the entrance and the buildup and the theme and the lights is so supernatural that unless he flies through the air and chops somebody's head off, there's a letdown there, you know? And I think that was part of the problem. And then, I mean, the way they did him with Goldberg took everything away from him. He's the Fiend. He's the supernatural guy, da 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 da. Spear jackhammer, done, 12 seconds. How do you recover from that?
You just can't.
You're never magical again, you know? That's part of the problem. He was such a character that he almost could never lose unless something, like, maybe four guys team up on him and, they, whatever, hit him with 9 finishers and 10 chairs, But once you beat him with, like a regular wrestler, what are you going to do? I'm surprised he hasn't shown up again, though.
Here's hoping that he does, because like in a dream world, I'd like to see him in AEW as a Joker entry in the Owen Hart tournament against Samoa Joe. That would be a pretty cool match.
That would be awesome. Now, would you bring him back as the Fiend, or would you bring him back just as Bray?
I'd probably, gosh, that's a tough one, because I love them both equally, but the Fiend was more sadistic, so I think I would like the Fiend.
I love the Fiend. I think you run into that problem. If you bring him back against Joe, he better beat Joe.
Yep.
And then he better beat the next guy, and he better beat the next guy. And then I think the worst idea they had was putting the belt on him, because that character shouldn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Right? Like they should even like say, "Oh, you get a title match," and he should walk away from it and be like, "That's not what I'm about. I just want to hurt people." Because then you keep him away from it. Then Goldberg doesn't have to beat him in 12 seconds to get the belt off him. Yeah, that's the problem with building somebody up so strong. Is how do you beat them? Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't like those championship squash matches. I think that happened with one of the ladies too, like when they were
when Becky came back.
Yeah.
Right? I forget her name. I can't think of her name right now. The girl with the long ponytail.
Bianca Belair.
Yeah, they beat her in 2 seconds.
Yep. Horrible idea.
And then they want you to forget about it. Oh, she's great because I think she's the champ again. I'm like, didn't that chick lose in 2 seconds? That's the problem they're going to run into with Roman. Who's going to beat Roman? And how? Because he beat Brock a bunch, right? How do you get that belt off him? They bring in Cody, and Cody, I got to win the title from Dusty. Now, let's stay in wrestling world, not business, behind the scenes world. In wrestling world, can Cody beat Roman? He's half his size, and Roman destroyed Brock. Is Cody Rhodes really a threat? No, right?
So, nope.
No, he's much smaller. He's not. Listen, I like Cody. God bless him. He's doing great things. But it's not. I hate to use the word realistic, but it's not. It's not realistic. Roman is a NFL linebacker, and Cody is a third string kicker. Size wise, it's just not. It's not feasible that he would beat him at all.
Indeed. Yeah, and they did the same thing with Kofi Kingston too. I remember, and it's just like maybe they had injuries and they wanted to wrap it up real quick or something and just do it. And with
that was the first episode of SmackDown on Fox, right? And I have a feeling Fox had something to do with that because right that was the main event, the first episode when they moved to SmackDown to Fox, and Brock beat him in seconds. But that was a little more realistic, right? Because Brock would kill Kofi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed. I think the only way that Roman would lose the title is if they put it like a triple threat match and someone else got pinned and he lost the belt
Oh,
that way.
that's the way out, I guess. I guess the big rumor and the big want right now is next year Mania is The Rock and Roman, right?
Oh, that'd be fun.
That would be amazing. That would be the coolest thing ever. Yeah, The Rock came back. I mean, it would be cool if The Rock signed some kind of contract where he would do more. Like if you knew going in that this was a one-off, then you know the result. But if The Rock would like agreed to do like you know, let's say he's doing Mania and then he'll do SummerSlam and then he'll go all the way until Survivor Series or the Rumble, then he may win. But if it's a one-off, you know what's going to happen. I guess the rumor now is that Roman is doing less and less dates, and he's heading to Hollywood.
I can see that.
Yeah, I mean he's got the look, right?
Yep.
He looks like what's his name, Aquaman.
Oh yeah, Ice
Right?
Jason Momoa.
Yeah, yeah. Hey man,
Maybe maybe they can be family in that Aquaman, the new Aquaman movie since they need a new co-star.
well, what's her name is in that, right?
Yep, the grumpy lady. We'll just call her the grumpy lady.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
didn't realize that she was in that. I had no idea who she was before this whole nonsense.
yeah, me neither. Well, yep. Oh, she's just now. She could switch roles with Roman now and be a pro wrestler or a
She
manager or something.
They should bring her in, man.
She's
That's
on
money.
fire at the moment.
That's money. Bring her in right now. Strike while the iron is hot.
Yep.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
she's not doing time time bars, put her in the steel cage.
that's it, man. Or just give her a mic and let her be somebody's manager. You
Yeah.
know, I'm sure she could talk and just strike while the iron's hot. I feel like they do that. They're always a step behind when they do that these days. They bring in like somebody who had heat and was very popular like 6 months to a year ago. Like, oh yeah, that guy. Nobody gives a shit anymore.
Yeah, but don't leave a grumpy in the ring though, because that's just gross.
Grumpy, hilarious.
Oh man. It reminds me of Grumpy's in Orlando. You can leave a Grumpy there if you
You
want
can leave a grumpy on the at Grumpy's.
to. I mean, I love that place. I hosted it one time, so it was fun.
I've only been there once. Yeah, and it was an interesting show. We'll just say that.
What happened?
No, it was just a lot. There's a lot of people trying real hard, man, but it wasn't really good.
Yeah, when I went, there was like two homeless people that started fighting, and so I was like, "Oh, I'm not coming here anymore." I just feel bad. Like they were like, because like the next door establishment got angry at him and threw him out, and then and then the fight happened on the sidewalk. I'm like, this reminds me so much of Rain Dogs in Jacksonville. I do not want to be here anymore. I'm never gonna go there again. I'm like, oh, this is just
That's awesome.
yeah. And you'd expect the Nog to have that issue, but they don't. There's hardly any. We only deal with serial killers and stuff, but that's about it.
Hey, I got to look back at my emails. Did I just read or hear that there's a wrestling event happening in Daytona coming up?
Yeah, it's the WWE one.
Are
It's
you going?
I don't think so. It was like Stunner Sunday or something
Yes,
like that.
that I just got. I must have got an email on that. So what is that? It's a live event.
Yep, it's a live event. So
Listen, you got to keep me posted if you hear of any like. I'm not so interested in going to events, but I like the meet and greets.
oh yeah, that's what happened at the Wrestle Daytona like last month because Buff Bagwell was in town.
Okay, yeah.
Yep, and so he needed a place to do his podcast, and I said, oh, I run a monthly podcasting at the Nog, and we'd love to have you. And so that's he did his live podcast at the Nog, so it's so cool. And I got to
That's
interview
cool.
Buff, so that was neat.
That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah, like I said, I'll email you. I'll send you my collection of all these guys I met. All these wrestlers, and it's pretty. I have a very short list of guys I would still like to meet, and the problem is the ones I want to meet are pretty pricey.
Yeah.
Like up in New York, they have this event called the Big Event, and they get everybody there. That's where I met a lot of them. But one time, Undertaker was there, but to meet him was like $300.
Oh, you gotta go to the horror conventions. They're there too,
They're
and then
they're
they're
where?
at the horror conventions, like
Oh, the
Sticky
horror.
Empire.
I'm sorry. I thought you said the porn convention.
That too.
They're there too.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely go to those because I just got back from Spicala yesterday, and so Danhausen was there on Friday, and like one like either the Butcher or the Blade was there, and but it was just a pretty cool thing to go to because like they love horror movies too. So Stick
Right.
Empire is supposed to have some. There's also the River City Wrestling Con coming up in Jacksonville, and like the Hardy Boys and like Booker T and stuff, DDP, they're all going to be there. It's
Oh,
going to be
that's
pretty neat.
cool. I met DDP a few times. Trying to think. There's a few that I snuck in right before they passed, which is crazy. Like Mr. Wonderful,
Uh-huh.
Paul Orndorff, Mean Gene, and King Kong Bundy. I met like right before they died. I was like,
Oh.
oh my god. My nephew made. He's like, you killed them.
You will probably see wrestlers walking around in Orlando because they all like the majority of them
Yeah,
live
they all
in
live
Tampa.
around, right?
Yeah.
They all live here. A buddy of mine, a good friend of mine, a comedian from New York, Mick Thomas. He was just out in L.A. and he was palling around with Sheamus.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he's got some pictures. He's like, yeah, we were just hanging,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. It's an Irish thing.
Indeed. That's where I perform most of my stand up is at an Irish bar, Irish pub, the Trinidad Irish pub in Daytona on Wednesdays. So
Yeah,
it's
I gotta come hang with you next time I'm in town, man.
yeah.
I just did the Hilton there. That was cool, and I'm doing the Museum of Arts and Sciences there. Um, so I'm pretty psyched with that. For that, I'm doing it with Dean Napolitano.
Oh, he's a gem. I love
He,
that dude.
he's amazing. He's probably I don't know every comic around, but he's probably top dog in this area, in my opinion. Yeah,
If you ever get the chance, go see his one man show.
I did.
Oh,
I
cool.
did. And what's crazy about that is I grew up about one or two towns over from Dean. So everything he's referring to is home for me. Like
Awesome.
he's naming streets, he's talking about the sump and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, man. And he's a little older than me, but not much, like maybe, 3-4 years older. So like everything he was saying, I was like, he's talking about my life on Long Island, which is pretty cool.
Heck yeah, that's so awesome. He's just yeah, yeah. I caught his show over at that like one of those little theaters like near in like Lake Mary or not Lake Mary, but
Yeah, just north of here, though.
yeah.
Yeah, I went. I went on a Friday night.
Uh, I think I
And
went on a Saturday. But yeah,
okay,
because I was at it was like near Casadega. I remember that, and I went to Casadega before his show. So
yeah, it was this little playhouse type thing, right?
mhm.
Yeah, it was so good. I was so impressed with that. Yeah, just the whole setup and was really really good. And yeah, I was supposed to open for him in the Villages, and I got in a car accident on the way there.
Oh,
And obviously I was upset about the car accident, but I was so upset that I wasn't able to to make the show because he was on my list of people I wanted want to work with and open for because like I said, I don't know everybody in this area. I'm still fairly new, but that guy is I'd put him up there as you know top dog around these parts for sure. He's a
Absolutely.
pro's pro, man.
He really
Very
is.
funny dude.
Yep. Yeah, he's how I got to meet everyone is by taking pictures of them for free and interviewing them on the spot before like COVID hit. And so
Yeah,
that's how I got to like that was my way of networking and getting on shows and so but it was a good way to do it. So there's like 600 interviews on my YouTube channel with just the Florida comics and Dean's on there too. So uh, maybe one day I'll do some updated interviews for everybody too. So
yeah, no
awesome.
doubt, man.
Indeed, Adam. So, if you could pick five wrestlers to be on like a dream, like to be on ROW, which five wrestlers would you like to see on the show?
Bret Hart is my favorite of all time.
The excellence of execution.
What's that?
The excellence of execution.
Absolutely. Um, huh. All right. I do they have to be alive?
Yep, because I can't talk to dead people.
Or can you?
Oh, I don't want to do that. But I'll just go to Casadega and have them summon them. So,
You know what? This could be a little off the beaten path, but I bet you he'd be great. Is Barry Windham? So Bret Hart, Barry Windham. Um, huh. Steamboat. Um, my brain keeps on going back to Ric Flair, but he's so obnoxious on interviews, so I wouldn't do that to you. Um, you know what? You know who would be so great right now is Triple H. I'm so fascinated by him, just the way his recent events and NXT getting taken away and his health stuff, and I think he's brilliant. So that, let's put him in there. Let's put Bray Wyatt in there. I'm very curious about him. And one more, right?
yep.
Um, hmm, hmm, hmm. Who else? Who else? Let's put Punk in there.
That'd be fun for
Yeah,
sure.
that's your boy right there.
Yep, he sure is. He's one of the best in the world, if you will.
Yes, I think I think Jericho may argue with that, but that's all right.
Indeed. Awesome, Adam. So you're my pretty much my final fan interview. Uh, so and hopefully in like the next if they do would love to be interviewed, that'd be a dream come true. But if not, this is probably the last episode. But I just wanted to dive in because I was trying to be an intern for TNA back in the day, back in like 2008, but
Hmm.
they never responded to my email to be a broadcast intern for them. But my calling came out from Los Angeles, so I ended up doing my internship out there. So that
Oh, nice.
worked out in my favor. So, but I'm glad I got to reconnect that broadcast dream of in wrestling and with ROW and pay homage to the NWO with the logo and stuff. And
Yeah, no doubt, man.
yeah. We actually pay homage to DX every Wednesday when we open up the show with the whole "Are you ready?" thing, and then like they do the whole DX spiel, and then the crotch chops and everything. So you guys come check that out sometime. And everyone
Oh,
gets
that's
their own
awesome,
theme.
man.
They get their own theme music, and it's just so awesome. Every comic gets their own theme music and stuff. So it's pretty
Oh,
neat.
nice.
Yeah,
I,
we
I, I
try.
got to check that out for sure, man.
Yeah, we try to make it fun for everyone and take photos. And the lights are perfect, and it's a low ceiling, dark room, and it's just perfect. It's been doing stand up for like 12 years now, so it's pretty awesome.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's very cool, man.
Yeah, Adam. Well, thank you so much for being my guest on
Thanks for
ROW. It
having me,
means a
man.
little.
This was
You're
fun.
welcome.
This was fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Needless
Have
to
fun.
say, I could talk about wrestling forever, man. I love it, and it's nice to connect with somebody who's who doesn't roll their eyes when I go on tangents. I apologize. I know I just went off, but it was a lot of fun.
Indeed. Have fun
So,
moving furniture, and maybe some of them will be tables, ladders, and chairs. We'll
oh,
see what
maybe
happens.
you know what? I might put somebody through a damn table today.
Devon, get the table.
That's it, brother.
Awesome, Adam. Be well, take care, and for everyone else, stay off the top rope if you can, and
You,
protect yourself at all costs.
thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it, man.
Awesome. I appreciate you, Adam. Thanks so much. Take care. See you next time.
You got it, brother.
Awesome. And to everyone else, like, subscribe, and follow Adam and all that stuff. The description box is full of all his social media info. That's it. Have a good one. Take care, everyone.